basically how the Q&A panel works is Wayne will ask the panel questions, and they'll all take it in turns, or whoever is more passionate about the issue will answer the question. For all of period 6, and there'll be a variety of questions. Then in period 7, we'll have the senior panel come up and do the same. So please make them welcome.
Alrighty, so the nature of the panel is a bit different to all the speeches we had before, because it's Q&A style, and we're going to be like decently good friends to each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first question, let's start with something pretty easy. Should the age of sexual consent be changed? By easy I mean classical.
I mean, I really don't have an opinion on this, I'm sorry.
Well done, Frank, for engaging with the question. Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
I don't think anyone's interested.
Alright, we will move right on. Okay, so in the spirit of Anya Ruth's presence, because he couldn't be here today because he's currently in hospital. Joseph. So, guys, what do you reckon backyard science has in place in our world and in the future? Backyard science in the sense that where we have people who are their own scientists, people who aren't working with large corporations or the government, coming up with inventions and things.
What are with these questions, man?
It gives us hope for the future, because like we're not that stupid.
It makes us more curious, and like we want to learn more. And obviously, like sometimes it doesn't make us like great innovators or whatever, but it does inspire us. And like, you know, sometimes small things make big things. So, I mean, yeah.
I really don't think there's much to say on this issue because, well, you're basically asking, is innovation by individuals good? And the default answer is always going to be yes. Whether it's done in the backyard or in like the study, like we're talking about individual innovation. Like we're not really talking about backyard science. We're talking about should individuals innovate with or without large companies, and the answer is yes.
Do you reckon we should let people? Do you reckon we should not let people do this and let them only engage with these new inventions and new innovation via large corporations and governments and have larger control of it?
No, because sometimes ideas seem stupid, but they're actually pretty. But they're actually pretty smart. Okay.
I also think no, because not all the people that are with these big like companies have the greatest ideas. Someone might have a good idea that is not necessarily employed by these companies.
All right, we will move along because this question is not very clear. Harambe will be coming soon. Okay, what are the benefits of Donald Trump being a presidential candidate?
The benefits of Donald Trump being a president is Hillary Clinton not being president. And regardless to say, I think that Hillary Clinton is a criminal. She should be in jail right now.
All right, thank you for answering the question. What are the benefits of Donald Trump being a presidential candidate?
Trump's he's a very outspoken guy. He might not be the brightest person, but I don't think that his influence will be that detrimental in the next 4 years. So until a better nominee can come out, we can just stick with Trump, and things won't change too drastically. So yeah, it's just a better alternative than Hillary Clinton.
He's involved in business, so he knows how to negotiate and stuff. So I mean, like, he's not all trash.
Can I contribute my 2 cents? So I am actually vehemently I am vehemently opposed to Donald Trump, but going on the topic of the question, not whether Trump is good or bad, but going along with the question, the benefits of Donald Trump applying for presidential candidacy is more like it sort of shows what our democracy is capable of, whether it's good or bad. The very fact that Donald Trump, an outsider, someone who says outlandish things, and all these policies that he's chasing. It kind of shows to everyone what sort of democracy we have and what it's capable of. Whether you see him as a person, an outsider who has good business strategies, who's taking a radical approach to, radical and good approach to government, or whether he's just a lunatic who's out of his mind and somehow got through the system by luck. It's really a symbol of what can our democracy do, and the answer is it can produce people like Donald Trump, and it can possibly place him in presidency, which I'm really scared of. Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything? Yeah, my thoughts are similar to Frank's in that I believe that with Hillary Clinton, you're not going to have anything, you're not going to have progress. It's just going to stagnate. America is going to stagnate for another 4 or 5 years. And this is my personal opinion. I have many arguments on this. I believe that Donald Trump will get things done, regardless whether it's good or bad. And again, similar to Frank, it can't be that bad for 4 years. Yeah.
So would you prefer there to be bad consequences of Donald Trump being the president, or would you prefer everything to just like stay the same for the next 4 years?
Why do you assume that it's going to be bad consequences?
Because Donald Trump is trying to get rid of people from his country that live there and they have a right to live there. He just has all these outrageous ideas.
Why do illegal immigrants have a right to live in America?
Contrary to popular belief.
You guys use the mic because you're dropping in and out. There's one take the mic.
Let's just pass the one mic around. Wait. So basically, why are Donald Trump's policies bad? And let me deal with illegal immigrants and just immigration in general. What was I going to say? So why is deporting illegal immigrants bad? And basically, I just want to bring this back a little bit further back before I talk about why it's not bad. But basically, 60 seconds. Okay. But basically, a lot of what Donald Trump runs on is this fear of immigrants taking people's jobs and the fear of basically internationalism. So he goes at this from an isolationist approach. He says, well, look, the big bad world is out to get America, and if we isolate ourselves from this world, we're going to make America great again. But the thing is, like, a lot of the job fearing stuff, the most of America's jobs that have been lost, that Donald Trump attributes to China or Mexico or Muslims, I don't know, but basically a lot of what he's attributing this fear to, most of these jobs have been lost not to other people but to robots. They've been lost to automation now, trust me to know that. But a lot of this fear and hatred that he's stirring up, they've been losing these jobs to robots, and like, okay, fine.
Alright, I feel like we should talk about the policy of Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton here, because that takes us down to some basic principles, things that we really shouldn't be talking about right now. So on a related note to the politics, should younger people be given more voting power?
I feel like for people who are younger. Sorry.
I don't think that's a very well-defined question. You mean the vote should be lowered?
Okay, for the benefits of this debate, let's just say that the votes of people under the age of 25, let's draw an arbitrary line, will be given 50% more, like counted 50% more as a vote. Okay?
Okay, so basically what he's saying is instead of people under 25 casting one vote, they cast 1.5 votes. So basically 2 young people are equal to 3 of people older than 25. That's basically what he's saying. And what I kind of see the system as is kind of, okay, look, if you look at Brexit, if you look at Pauline Hanson, yes, a lot of these people, Brexit was mostly swung to the Leave side by older people. And I see this as something that's intrinsically unfair. Like, sure, democracy, we have this whole concept of one person, one vote. But the thing about democracy is that we've all come to accept democracy as a very strict definition. The definition of one person gets one vote, and one person gets one vote. We have to have representative democracy. Like, democracy itself is a concept that's very far-reaching, but we've managed to
limited to a very strict definition in our Western society. And the way I see it, there's something like young people should have more say in what their government does, because they're the ones living through these government changes for longest in the future. If you look at Brexit, most young people voted to remain, but the vote was swung by older people to the favor of leave. And I see this as intrinsically unfair. And we have to kind of let go of this definition of democracy as like strictly representative, strictly one person, one vote, because times have changed. Like, it's been 300 years and demographics have changed. We now no longer have a population pyramid, we have a population like rectangle. And basically what this kind of is to me is making the voting power pyramid again.
I'd just like to ask the question, if you allow younger people to vote, what about the maturity factor, considering they haven't been in society for as long as, for example, if you let like a 14-year-old vote?
That's not really what I'm saying. Like, what we're talking about here, again, is that if you're over the age of 18, you get 1.5 votes, according to him. So, you're still above the age of 18. Your vote just counts for more. And the thing is, the question of maturity and all this is like, well, we've basically come upon an arbitrary line where we say, well, from this age, they're good enough to vote. And so, I think
Those on this side of the debate.
So, the very fact that young people get 1.5 times the vote, I think, well, you mentioned before that old people swung votes. Well, if you give young people 1.5 of the vote, it also swing votes the other way. But this is exactly why maturity factor is important. Like, you look at some people are not very mature at all. And look at countries like Australia, for example, where it's mandatory voting. People aren't informed, they could just vote for whatever they like. Let's look at some, for example, in the US, at the beginning of the presidential elections, when these nuts was actually had lots of votes. What if that happens in Australia? A troll candidate gets a large percentage of the votes. What if that scenario occurs? Because it's a very distinct possibility.
Alright. We're just going to pass over to a different point from here again.
Okay, look, I'm just going to be honest that I'm not going to talk about any of the maturity stuff because I don't really have anything to say on that, and mainly because I've got roasted for it. But that's not the point. Okay, so my point is this. Okay, so people over 18, like under 25, right? Those people are those people we're going to become in the future, right? So we are the future, okay? Should we really let old people decide what we are going to do in the future?
Yes, because they are part of our population. You can't just cut out like an entire group of people. You're saying that they're misinformed, right? Like something like that, because you would be giving the other people a more worthy vote. But that's kind of ridiculous because, like I previously stated, they are part of our population, and while we do that, why don't we just exclude women from voting? Because, you know what I mean? They have an equal voice, I think, and it's really important to address that instead of just say one group of people are more important than the other.
I'd like to say, when you're older, you're gonna die faster than younger. So if you're gonna really talk about population, then they're gonna die before us, right? You want people that are basically dead to
just because they die before us, what they're voting for ultimately still affects them. So I mean, just because y'all won't die, you know what I mean? Some people.
So let's say because.
Alright guys, it's time for the next question.
We're not talking about
Vetoed by Miss Steele. Okay? But on a completely non-politics related question, what is the philosophy behind the public education we have now? Is it right? And why do we see an upwards trend in private tutoring?
It's too much.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is the philosophy behind the public education system? Is it right? And why do we see an upwards trend in private tutoring?
I feel like the current current education system is generally where when you're a young age or whatever, they allow you to like kind of play around and experience the world for what it is, and then towards like 10, 11, and 12, you start getting introduced to your like more of a study, so it's more like an exponential when you're studying. But in my opinion, I kind of feel like it'd be a lot greater if you could spread the workload from year 11 and 12 over to like other years, so that you don't feel this sudden stress starting from 11 to 12, you know, where your workload just exponentially increases.
That's an interesting point. Does anyone else have anything to say on this?
What is the philosophy of our education system? And really the education system exists for one sole purpose, which is to get people ready for the workforce. And well, really it is. The only reason we have the education system is because it makes people better at their jobs. Like, you may not see the benefit of studying history or agriculture or whatever, but in general, this education gives you skills that make you better for the job. And that's the whole philosophy behind education. What were the other questions?
Upward trend.
Oh, why do we see an upward trend in private tutoring? It's because the whole selective school system, the whole OC school system, basically the whole education system in general is starting to get more competitive, because the standards of education that we're seeing now, the standards for getting the job that you want, or doing what you want in life, the standards of education that you have to meet, it's getting more competitive. So that's why we're seeing more private tutoring. It's because we have to get people to a higher level because everyone else is at a higher level, and the only way we can do that is by supplementing the public education system with private tutoring.
Anyone else have any thoughts on this? Seem to reach a conclusion. Okay, we're trying to cover as many different facets of life as possible. So, next question. Is society's focus and reward to outgoing individuals fair?
Yes, because they're the ones that propose the ideas, and then they're the ones, like obviously people who are introverted might make the ideas, whatever, right? But the people who are outgoing, I think, are the ones who accept criticism, and they're the face of it. So they deal like the brunt of the, you know, like the criticism that gets thrown at them. So I mean, like, it's good to be smart and outgoing. I think like being outgoing should be more valued because it is a really important life trait.
Okay, what happens when you have people who aren't outgoing whatsoever but have really great ideas, thoughts, and things to do?
I don't really think it's up to any institutions or societies. It's not society's burden to have to push or force these people in order to contribute, right? I think there is a certain sense of autonomy when it comes to these things. If you want to propose something, if you have good ideas, then you should be willing to propose them. It's not the burden of society to force you to you know, babysit you and sort of get these ideas out of you. Ultimately, it's up to your own initiative to be able to propose these sorts of things. And that's why being, you know, more extroverted, more outgoing, and more sociable is important, because ultimately we are social beings as humans, right? And this is why this is a really important sort of value.
Yeah, hello, Frank pretty much said everything I want to say. I guess something really quick to add on. It doesn't matter how great your ideas are. If you don't tell the world, it doesn't matter in the end. No one will ever know how great your idea was to change the world or save millions of lives or kill cancer or whatever. If you don't tell anyone, no one will know. So it just all comes down to that, really.
Alrighty. Okay, next question. Evolution by natural selection is no longer happening in humans, as stated in someone's speech, for the most part. Should we artificially select humans by not allowing weak people to reproduce, thus allowing a stronger gene pool? Reggie, what's that?
Just because someone's weaker doesn't mean they have, like, they don't get the right to have children and make more of themselves. they may have different traits that are valuable, or even if they don't have those extra traits, it doesn't deny them the right to live.
I think this kind of all boils down to what you consider the good genes, because some genes can be considered better per se. Like you get two smart people and then you make them have a kid. The kid is most likely going to be smart, right? But you can't necessarily say you have two dumb people and then make a kid. The kid doesn't necessarily have to be dumb either. The kid could be smart. You just really never know.
I guess it only comes down to individual, or the rights of the individual versus the rights of the collective. So if you were to prevent people with disabilities or disorders or whatever from reproducing, well, that benefits the collective in that it benefits society overall, that the gene pool is increased. So say you have everyone with Down syndrome, for example, so you say those people can't reproduce anymore, you will wipe out Down syndrome. But again, you can look at it from an individual perspective. The people with Down syndrome are just they're losing the birth lottery. Like, it's not their fault they have Downs, but they're being persecuted or something. So it's just really two sides of a good argue both sides really.
Funny thing is, when you chase a certain characteristic in people and you kill off the rest, it's called inbreeding. And what tends to happen with inbreeding is genetic mutations, which means that really there is no perfect human race at all, and just killing off weaker people and stopping them from reproducing is actually not the best thing in the long term.
If you make everyone special, then no one is special. So you can't make everyone the same with the good traits, because then the people that really have the amazing traits that stand out won't stand out as much as they should.
Although I would agree with you that I just wanted to ask you, why do you think that's an important thing for people to have to be able to stand out?
That's a good point, but I think some people need a leader, and if everyone's a leader, then you can't really have a proper leadership or democracy. If everyone's a leader, then everyone can be prime minister. If everyone can be prime minister, then how are we going to have a proper democracy? I guess.
Alright, we're going to move on from this. Next question. On a completely unrelated note. Okay, that's it. Are romantic teenage relationships foolish?
This is relating to something actually that someone spoke about earlier today, which was about enjoying your life. And so I don't like high school relationship. It can be sometimes like an adventure. You know what I'm saying? It's an exciting endeavor, and like when you go home and you open Facebook, like and you open the messages and hope they didn't read you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting.
Anyone else have anything?
Wait, I'm just double checking, but the question was, do you think high school relationships are foolish, right?
Pretty much.
Okay, so yes, high school relationships are foolish. How many of these relationships actually get somewhere in real life? Like I'm not even gonna speak about like some people, maybe even in this panel, may have a relationship, right? So then you're just gonna last into the future and you guys gonna get married?
I'm going to have to veto this conversation because it seems that your understanding of relationships is that the only role of a relationship is to last forever, but clearly that's not the only aspect of a relationship, right? But that's kind of
calculated look at it. Like, people have biological needs and they need to be fulfilled. So, yeah, they're not foolish because you still need to, yeah.
I just want to talk about the matter of just enjoying life while you can. Like, if you don't have a relationship, yeah, okay, that's fine. But then, if your high school life, if you don't live your high school life to the fullest extent, then what's the point of living, you know? So you might as well just, you might as well enjoy, like, it might be futile, but it's better to actually skip it.
Okay. To be fair, I never said the relationship. Like, I said what I mean is that you can have your relationships, I don't care. But the point is, it's foolish in my opinion. Is when you said that, it's like, my definition is wrong, right? But you never really specified, so I just went by my definition. So I don't see what
I think everyone has a different opinion on this because some people having a relationship in high school could benefit them because they gain the experience and they learn in the future. But at the same time, there are some people that want to save that romantic excitement until they're older, and save it for the right person.
So my dad always told me that life is like a roller coaster, yeah? So when you get off, you wanna be like, woohoo, what a ride.
Sexual innuendo aside, this obviously comes down to, well, what everyone seems to be saying is that it comes down to the individual and it comes down to what the individual wants. And so on that, we're going to move forwards. Could you repeat the question? Okay, on this topic, let's go from this side of the panel and learn, what are your stance on gay marriage in Australia?
Okay, here's the thing. Everyone's probably gonna hate me for it, but I'm a Christian, so I'm against gay marriage. Hate me for what you want, but I don't care because that's what I believe in. So you guys can be like, oh my god, I can't believe she's Christian, and like, she doesn't support gay marriage. Like, what about love and stuff? Well, guess what? That's against what I believe in. So suck it up.
I don't have an opinion on this because this is controversial between religions and people's opinions.
Honestly, if it doesn't involve me, I don't care.
Similar to Elton, but I would just like to say on the aspect of religion. Religion is meant to be a personal thing, in my opinion. When you have something like Christianity, there is nothing in the Bible that actually tells you that it's wrong. Well, it does say it's wrong for there to be gay people sleeping with each other, right? That's what it says in the Bible. But why would that affect you? If you're a Christian and there's a gay legislation that's been passed, if gay people are able to be marry each other, how does that affect you in any way if religion is inherently personal? I mean, the thing is, it's not even about gay marriage. It's not even about gay marriage because, look, regardless of whether gay marriage is a thing in Australia or not, gay people are still going to be sleeping with gay people.
Also, on the topic of religion, I think there's a distinction to be made between people's beliefs and what other people know. Basically, every religion has religious texts, but the followers of every religion don't follow that text to the word. Like Christian people eat shellfish. Like that's a pretty infamous example of a Christian belief, but people still eat shellfish. So what I'm trying to say is, in order to be religious, people take religion differently. And just because a religious text tells you to do something, there are so many examples where you don't follow the text to the word. So why shouldn't like, religious text should be a guide to how to live your life, but it shouldn't be to the word a definite guide on what your morality is.
Frankly, what people do in their own time is none of your business. So whether or not you want to be gay, they're not like
By the way, Joseph, the eating shellfish thing is not Christian, it's completely Jewish.
Alrighty, we're going to move on to our final question. No, we're not talking about Harambe because the senior panel are talking about Harambe. Yeah, so Miss Steele vetoes it, guys. It's not me, it's Miss Steele. Alright.
There's so much more to be said.
Alright. Guys, the world is changing. So what do we envision and what do we want the future to be like?
I really don't have anything to say. Just a better place, go by.
when there's no poverty and there's no poverty and no hunger.
I honestly believe that the future is pretty much impossible to predict because the rate of technological advancement is just too fast. This is growing at an exponential rate. So 50 years from now, the world's probably going to be completely different. So yeah, I don't know.
I would hate it because it's going to be way too different and it's going to be impossible for any one of us to live in a world like that because of just the cultural attitudes we have ingrained in our mind already. So yeah, people would probably kill themselves if they went to the future.
I love thinking about the future, and the one position that I have is that our current understanding of morality is going to die. Technology will take over our entire lives. It's like a brave new world of complete destruction. And yeah, I'm really optimistic, aren't I?
Just like have as much fun as you can. Tomorrow, just keep trying to have fun.
No comment, but I'm sure Susan has a lot to say.
I just wanted to be a better place.